Here we go. Good morning, everyone. This is Rosalind Henderson, and I am your host for the podcast Beyond Self-Care Basics for Educators. And we explore real-time wellness tools and strategies that educational leaders can use to help them reduce toxic stress and avoid burnout. And I am very excited today because I have Dr. Adrian Leday here. He is the principal of Garland High School in Garland, Texas, and he is here to talk to us about his systemized self-care practices at his school site. So everybody, audience, give him an applause. And Dr. Leday, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share and be with us today.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind, I need to amend one thing because there is a Garland High School, a South Garland, a North Garland. I'm actually at South Garland High School. I did attend Garland High School for high school, but my kids tell me all the time not to be an op. Make sure that I lean in on my South Garland side. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
yes,
Um,
ma'am.
so give us a little bit about your background. You've been a principal for how long?
I've been a principal for 7 years. This is my 27th year in education. I started off as a teacher in a charter school program first for the first 4.5 years. Universal Academy Charter School, fine program. I've still got very good friends that are still there these 20-something years later. Um, and I transitioned after about 4.5 years there to my current district where I am is Garland ISD and been serving here since January of 2004. In my time as a teacher, I was starting off as a science teacher because I have a degree in biology, minor in chemistry. All of a sudden, one day, the math teacher had some questions on something from the key. Uh, as in a charter school, if you have the skill, you go in. And so I became a math teacher. I taught a self-contained eighth grade class 1 year and taught English, math, science, social studies, algebra one, pre-algebra, and even did a little Spanish one. And then the following year, I became the math coordinator for 2 campuses while I was there. My certification is in mathematics. I have a master's degree in mathematics education. Eventually moved to Garland ISD, where I served as a teacher, an instructional coach for math and science. Then I became an administrator as an assistant principal before becoming a principal, like I said, 7 years ago.
Wait.
Yeah.
So, so you really have been in a lot of different positions, very versatile, very
Yes,
talented
ma'am.
man. I was really impressed by that. You know, what I realized have been in education for 30 years myself is that oftentimes I think a lot of us teachers buy into the myth that we have to be all things to all people. And
Mm,
with that, teachers, administration, staff members, they put themselves at the bottom of the, and I even noticed that a lot of educators, they'll come in with stress-related illnesses.
mm,
Their anxiety, their depression, their insomnia, their autoimmune diseases. They come in and they live with that. That's the norm for them
right.
because that's what a good teacher does. So I love what your attitude is. We've had a chat last week, and I realized that at Garland that you kind of interrupt that myth that teachers have to be all things to all people and that they have to
Mm,
put themselves at the bottom of the to-do list. And I find that you are doing some wonderful things. You've created, I guess, what we will call it intentional kind of community care, um, informal program with your staff, starting with yourself. So talk to me about the power of intentionality as it relates to keeping toxic stress at bay for yourself and your staff.
yes. So I'll give just a little bit of background. Ironically, I and I didn't share this with you last week. I just thought about it actually. The reason why I left the charter school where I was is because when you talk about being all things to everyone, I was a full-time teacher. I was a secondary team leader, which meant that I was essentially an assistant principal in charge of grades 8 through 12. I was the athletic coordinator and I was the math coordinator. And my wife, who at the time was a full-time medical student, said, I want you to get another job so I can see you. And so and she asked me to do that for her 26th birthday. I asked her what she wanted. She said, I just want to be able to see you, get a job where I can see you. So in my desire to be all things for all people, my health faded. This was, an issue for me at 26, where I was not my best self. I thought I learned the lesson then, but the truth of the matter is, I didn't learn the lesson because as soon as I got into positions of leadership again, I began to push and began to push. Uh, COVID slowed me down. It made me take stock of everything that was going on. I was a new principal during COVID. I got my principalship in 2019. So the 2019-2020 school year was my first year as a principal. So I can honestly say I've never known a year without COVID or the looming prospect of COVID as principal. But with that, I was at an elementary school. I found my balance. I found space. When I was asked by my superintendent to consider high school, I told him quickly no. But the reason why I reconsidered is one, this is my home community. This is the school that I grew up near my entire young life. And on top of that, I made a condition with my wife that I would take care of myself when walking in the door here. So one of the things that I do is that we have a commitment, and she holds me to it because you need accountability partners in this. That I take 1 day per quarter off, no doctor's appointments, no busy things to do, just time away. And so I've really taken that to heart. It's allowed me to be, I believe, more effective when I lose sight of it or when I'm losing my focus. I'll get a tap on the shoulder, honey, I think it's time. And so, I've given myself that grace, and I actually communicate that out to my staff members. Guys, it's a tough year. You're going to have to give yourself some time. You're going to have to make sure to take those days. Now, don't do it every 3 weeks and on Friday. However, we recognize we are often trying to pour from an empty cup, and you can't give anything to anyone else if you don't have anything left. And so I really had to refocus myself to let me fill up so I can bring something to them. I'm teaching this lesson to my assistant principals now, much more hardcore than they may like sometimes. And I'll just say, hey, directive, you're taking a day off next week because it's time. You need a break. And at first, one of my APs, he pushed back. He said, no, you need me. I got to do this. I got to do this. I was like, you know what? It'll be here when you get back. Yeah. And here's the worst part, and it's sobering reality. If something were to happen to me, they would mourn me for a week, and then they'd have to find my replacement because life goes on. But those people who care the most about me, they will mourn me for their lives. And so I have to make sure that I keep the main priorities. And that's my health, well-being, and making sure to look after all those that I love.
Wow. That's very, very powerful. I think it's atypical at a lot of workplaces where that self-care component is just part of the culture.
Right.
So you mentioned that, that self-care, getting away has helped your focus and helped you to be a better leader. Can you expound on that a little bit more?
Absolutely. And I can speak specifically in context of this year. This is my third year at South Garland High School, and we've made steady improvement every year. I think the biggest challenge, though, is that what I notice is when I get tired is when I make mistakes. And when I get tired and stressed is when I don't speak to people in the way that is natural for me. I'm an empathetic person. I believe myself to be a motivator and a nourisher of people. When I'm tired, I can't give them that. And what happens is it impacts the entire campus. Sometimes as leaders, we don't understand how we feel, how we move, how we interact, how much it colors everything everyone experiences. And with a campus as large as mine, I've got almost 200 or 200 plus employees actually that I work with. Then how I interact with each one colors their day. Uh, it was very important. One student told me one time, he said, Dr. Leday, I appreciate that you smile when you see me. And I was like, I don't think about that. I'm just happy to be doing my job. I enjoy the work I do, but it has an impact on a kid that I don't hardly talk to. And he tells me, I appreciate you smiling at me. And I was like, oh, well, cool. Hey, man, let me get some more cheese. And or I reply back, well, if you keep your ID on and make sure your phone's put away, I will smile all the time. And so, it's things like that, the little things that you don't understand, that the impact of your presence and your presentness with them, how that impacts others. I try my best when I'm talking to my staff members to look them directly in the eyes and really block everything out. Why? Because this is our moment, me and you. This is not for everybody. I'm with you. And so that true engagement, that true helping them understand that, listen, when I take time, I'm giving time because it's my most precious resource. When I take it back from me, it's because it's my most precious resource. And at that time, I need it to fill. When I'm giving it to you, I'm filling you. But I still got to make sure that I have something to give you. And so that self-care for me is really important so that I can be wholly present for everyone when I'm dealing with it.
Yes. So you've been at South Garland
Yes, ma'am.
for 3 years, correct?
3 years as a principal, previously 2 years as an AP.
Okay. So what do you see, or what feedback have you gotten from teachers and staff with you really implementing and heralding this whole idea of, hey, we got to take care of ourselves as we're showing up for, what kind of impact has that had on the staff, the teachers? What are they saying in terms of testimonials?
Well, I will say it this way. Those who are in the work appreciate the fact that you see them and that they're doing what they need to do. Ironically, when I call a person and say, hey, it's time for you to take a break, what I'm really saying to them is not just, you look tired. What I'm saying to them is, you have given so much that I recognize that it's time for you to recharge too. That I see the effort that you're putting in. I see that you are a part of what we're doing here in terms of our vision. And I'm grateful enough to tell you it's time to take care of yourself. And so with that, it doesn't come across as, ooh, girl, you look tired. You need to go home. It comes across as, I care enough about you to see that you've given so much that now it's time for you to start building in your cup. This builds an interconnection so that when I do have to ask them to push a little harder, they go, I remember that he had my back on this one. I'm going to have his back on this next one. And so what I found is, ironically, people work harder for you if they know that you will help them take the break when they need it. Because the truth of the matter is that, in any organization, we know Pareto principle is true. 20% of people are doing 80% of the work, 80% of the people doing 20. So I really hone in on that 20% and check in on them and make sure that when I see that they are about out, when they get to 80% of their capacity and they're about to run out of gas, that's when I check in. I go, listen, it's time. I need you to go ahead and take a little break. How are you feeling? When are you taking your next day off? Give me a heads up so I can get you some coverage, and we'll make sure that that I'll pass through your classes that day to make sure that your kids are all right. But you got to take care of you. And so that doing that really helps people, just for lack of a better expression, work harder for you or with you.
This is interesting because you're a dream principal in a lot of ways. Your average,
Not to everyone.
well,
Because I have an accountability component to me too.
yeah. There needs to be that. There needs to be that balance between empathy and, hey, we have standards to meet. No doubt, no doubt about it. But what I'm saying is that you're creating a psychologically safe workplace where, again, to me, it's a safe place if I am looked at as a human being and that you're caring and it's authentic. What oftentimes happens, or it's happening less, but there's a lot of leaders who think top down. It's all about getting the goal met. It doesn't matter the technique that we use, maybe fear and other ways to get the work done. And it explodes in a leader's face. Temporarily, you might get more work done because people fear losing their jobs, retaliation, da da da. But your approach is definitely a 360.
Well, there's a reason for that. And the reason is simple. I don't scare easily. I lead in the way that works for me to be led. And if you try to scare me, if you try to, flex on me, things like that, truthfully, I'm honorary. And so because of that, I will dig my heels in. And I know people like me. And the truth of the matter is this, most principals hire people like themselves. It's a natural affinity that you're going to have towards people who are like you. So when you're making hires, you're normally going to hire people like yourself. So the truth of the matter is that when I interview and hire candidates, I don't care if they have pedagogy coming out their ears. That's nice. I can train you and teach you pedagogy. I can't teach you to care about people.
Yes.
I can't teach you to have the values that I ascribe to. And so because of that, when I interview, I'm looking for the value. I'm not looking for that. Most important thing that people know about me is this. My priorities are in this order. I'm a man of God and faith. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a cousin, brother, all that other stuff. Then I'm a principal. And I don't lose sight of that. If it's my kids, I'm leaving. You're not going to find me. If my wife calls and says I'm gone. It's the job is my mission field. This is not for me to make money. It's a calling. And if you embrace it as such and understand that it's a part of your, in my case, a part of your ministry, then you recognize that you need to minister to others, but you better minister to your home first.
Yes.
Okay. And so ministering to my home means making sure I show up as my best self for my wife and my kids. So how do I do that? I make sure I show up the best way for my wife and my kids by making sure I get rest, by making sure that I get refreshed, then making sure that when I get home, they don't get just my leftovers.
Yes.
Because that was what was happening before. They were getting my leftovers. And I'm thankful for my bride of 25 years who told me, listen here, Joker, you better figure this out. My wife is a medical professional. She's a physician. And she said, you better start taking care of yourself. Because if you're going to give me 50 years of marriage, I need you to live long enough to be here. And so I promised her 50 years on our wedding day. I told her anything past that is bonus. You just win it if I make it past 50 years. Because I come from a family of folks that don't live very long. But for her, I'm taking care of myself. For my children, I'm taking care of myself. For my mother and father, who I take care of from time to time, her mother, my brothers and sisters, my nieces, my nephews, I'll take care of myself.
Yes.
For the school, they get what I can give that's in this capacity, but I save my best for home. And that's not an indictment. That's not a push against the school. I give great work and great effort, but I can't give my best, my very best here.
That is so wonderful and astounding what you just said. You have your priorities set. They're all in the right order. And again, I go back to what was the unsaid expectation of me, especially when I came into teaching. I picked it up immediately that there aren't enough hours for you to give in this profession. So you stay late if you need to. You burn the midnight oil if you need to. You do whatever you need. I am so glad to hear, because working with educators, some of the toughest things that I experience is just trying to change the mindset of teachers who have been teachers for, the 20 years and the 25 years. And they're really steeped in that myth and that idea that good teachers do this, da, 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 they give their lives away. They're
Mhm.
imbalanced. They don't have hobbies. They don't show up as they should for their families. So to hear that, I think, and you living that, and we see a school working magnificently, says a lot about priorities and the power of truth. I have to be in balance in order to be good at my job and to help these students achieve. So, wow.
Well, it comes back to efficiency. And I think uh, this is what any great mechanic will tell you. Regular maintenance on the car helps it run, right? You got to get your oil changed every 3 months or 5,000 miles, depending on your car. You got to make sure that if you have a V8 engine, it's a 5.3, that you use 91 grade gas or higher. You could put the other stuff in there, but it won't run as well. If you have your regular maintenance calls at the 30,000 to 60,000, the car will run a lot longer. The truth of the matter is, if we know that this is true for an automobile, why haven't we figured it out for grown folks?
Yes.
And so what it boils down to for me is it boils down to I'm trying to help people be efficient. You can burn the midnight oil, but don't do it all the time. Good Lord.
Mhm.
There are some things I have projects where I'm working diligently on it and I've got to stay up, and in those spaces, I'm burning it hard. But then I go back to get back to the steady state. Okay. I might have to speed up to avoid something in the road, but then I'm going to go back to the speed limit.
Right.
Okay. Go back to the speed limit. Go back to the driving space that you're in to where you can function. And so that's what it's about for me. It's not about that, and I've been that teacher staying up till midnight. And there are some times where I'm working on projects as a principal that I've got something in my head. I just got to get it done. And I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning. My wife goes, "Baby, what are you doing?" And then I get back to my steady state. It's not that I don't ever depart from it. It's not that I'm always in control of that. It's just that I constantly remind myself when I do get off track, hey, we got to get back. It's time to get back on track. It's just like when you're a person that's on a diet or working out, you work out, you miss a day, you feel bad, got to get back. Got it. I have a principal friend of mine, and she always walked in and she said, "Day one again, another day one. We're gonna get it. Listen, we just need another day one. So if you get off track, it's day one.
Yes.
Just start over. Just get back in it. The key is to not allow yourself to wallow in the fact that you have gotten off track and that you perceive yourself to never be able to get back to being on track."
Right. Whoa, you're dropping jewels today, Doctor. Jewels. So what would be your opinion on this? Because I know that we really focus, as we should, as a district at school sites, on student performance and outcomes, and we have school policies in
Mhm.
relationship to that. What would be your opinion about having um, maybe self-care policies or policies that's going to protect a teacher's mental health and stability?
I would be in favor of that. And the reason why I would be in favor of it is because, again, the wonderful thing about students that I've learned in my 27 years is that they are truth machines. They bring out of you whatever is in you, okay? For better and for worse. But the truth of the matter is that they are also highly sensitive individuals. And I say that because there are times when I'm running low and a kid may pop up and tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Dr. Day, you good?"
Hmm.
So they can see it. They, yeah, it's funny. There's a belief of this generation that they are, less empathetic, less caring, that they are myopic, and they are myopic. But at the same time, they are much more observant of things than we give them credit. And what we don't always recognize is that the example that we show them is the thing that they're doing. They're mirrors.
Yes.
They're not they're not some willy-nilly thing. They are mirrors. And so if you show them this sense of self-care, if you show them this sense of, hey, I'm gonna make sure that I'm good so I can be good for everybody else. There are times where I don't make it to a game or to an event, and a kid will come up to me, "Dr. Day, where were you? We were looking for you." "I'm sorry, sweetie. I was with my kids." Okay. So then when I do go to their game, they realize, I'm with my kids that night.
Mm.
I'm with you because I'm prioritizing you. Last night was our last football game for the season. It was on a Thursday night. My drill team said, Dr. Leday, we're going to do our last performance of the year. We're seniors. Are you coming? I said, girl, I'm sitting in the skybox so I can see it all. And so I went up to the skybox and I came downstairs afterwards. Like, I'm so proud of you guys. Band, y'all did phenomenal. That's my squad. That's my team. My football players at the end, I hugged them. Hey, guys, I love you guys. I'm so proud of how you represented our school. Thank you for a great season. We finished without a win, but I'm proud of them. I'm proud that every day they came out there, they put on that South Garland Titans shield paraphernalia, those uniforms, and they showed spirit. They showed heart. They showed grit. They showed fight. Because I want them to understand, you're not always going to win, baby. And when you don't, be classy in the loss. I tell people all the time, I don't lose. I win or I learn.
Yes.
That's it. I said, what you learned today? I learned we're not better than them. What did you learn? And so those are the opportunities that I believe in taking a part of. And like I said, our kids are great mirrors for that. If we have teachers getting the opportunity to practice self-care intentionally and purposefully, I think what it will allow is it'll allow us to maintain teachers for an even longer period of time. It'll make sure that they stay in the profession. And the truth of the matter is this. Part of the difficulty of education is we keep having to recycle new teachers because we burn them out so fast in the first 3 to 5 years. If we had a process in place to make sure that they stayed refreshed, renewed, restored throughout, we'd probably have people who stay in the profession a lot longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll be candid too. I told you this in our conversation last week. I quit teaching my first year. I was done in March. Bye. I'm going to go make money. I'm going to be a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I am going to be rich, and I'm not going to deal with these little heathens. But they caught me. They put their little pincers in me, and they caught me.
Yeah.
And since then, this was in March of 2020 that I left. I went back January 2000, or March of 2000. I went back January 2001 because I couldn't be without them.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. And my wife was disappointed that I left all that money behind.
Of course.
But in the long run, and the good thing about it is she had faith in me that was my calling. And we struggled through things and this, that, and the third, but now we're on the other side of it. We're okay. We're comfortable. But it all worked out.
It all worked out beautifully. Oh my goodness, you're a delight to speak to. Let me ask you this. So are there other self-care strategies that you're using at the school?
I can't say that I'm using them particularly at the school, but in the process of this, one of the things I really believe in is I have accountability partners and other fellow principals that I commensurate with. Ironically, last night at the football game, I'm sitting down with one of my guys. We're in the end zone. We're talking. We're doing check-ins. Hey, man, how are you doing? How's the family? How's it going at the job? What do you need? Do you have some support for this? Let me bounce some ideas off of you, things like that. I have brothers in arms that I'm talking to. And ironically, in my particular case, there's about 11 of us, all African-American men, all educators, either current or past. And we check in on each other. We go play golf from time to time. We go have a meal. Our wives know where we are, and we are safe to go out with these guys, because they understand that all we're trying to do is edify each other and build each other up. And so when I need some advice, when I need some insight, I call on one of these guys and I say, hey guys, listen, I'm seeing myself here with this. I'm seeing myself here with this. One of the guys is my accountability partner, and we check in on our weight. I messed up this week, but I'm gonna get back on track. Day one. But he's like, hey, what's going on? Are you watching your weight? Are you doing your exercise? Are you doing your stuff? You cannot be isolated and be able to take care of yourself well. I know that you and I talked about this last week, how you said the principalship, many people feel isolated. You better not be. And you better not put yourself in that position, because if you do, you will feel the stress. You will feel the pressure. You will neglect self-care. But if you surround yourself with like-minded people that you care about and care about you, you can stay on your journey a lot more successfully than if you try to do it alone.
Wow, wow. You just dropping gems. I gotta say it again because I mean the research is out on that. We're a society, Western society, still tries to promote the whole idea of pull myself up by my own bootstraps to be independent and all of that stuff. But the research tells us that if you're going to get more done, if you're going to surpass your own perceived limits, sometimes we see ourselves as only being able to do this. But when we have the support of others, we can do so much more, achieve so much more, and do it with less stress. It just, again, is another one of those myths that we need to just push against so that we can achieve some of those bigger, hairier goals and do it with a big smile on our face and with joy. So,
Well, and I believe there's an African proverb that says it this way: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And so the truth of the matter is that I can honestly say that the advancement that I have achieved in my career is because I've been surrounded by people who've been encouraging. And, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. I mean, the reality is that I've got some iron brothers around me, and oh, it cuts. And the good thing about sharpening iron, there's friction. We're always going to rub up against each other, but that's only going to make us better. And so, like I said, when I engage with these men, it's because I want to be, I want a little friction. I want to be sharper. I want to be ready. I want to be prepared. But also, I want the conflict. I want to test where I am and make sure that I'm on track. I want someone to tell me that I'm making a mistake, that I'm pushing in the wrong direction, that I'm wasting my time or energy, all those different things. Because if I'm not willing to take in that insight, I'm going to keep down the wrong path, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's
Dr.
wasteful.
Leday, how did you, so many professionals, they have
Mhm.
an itis. I call it an itis when it comes to feedback.
Uh-huh.
It takes vulnerability. It means that
Mhm.
people are in your business, Dr.
Mhm.
Leday. You got to
Uh-huh.
come up and you got to confess and tell the truth so that they can give you
Yes.
some remedy. So how did you learn to deal with I think there's a little pain, and when people love you, there's a little pain involved, but it's for
Mhm.
your greater good. How'd you come to that realization that this is for your ultimate good? I mean, that's a very mature attitude, and quite frankly, you're youngin', you're in your 40s.
I'm
I know,
49.
60-year-olds, 70-year-olds have in leadership who are unable
Mhm.
to receive any kind of feedback in love.
Mhm. I I'll be candid with you and tell you that it comes from my parents. I am blessed to have a fantastic, phenomenal father and a beautiful praying mother. And both of them did not spare me critique. Why? Because they didn't want me to be less than. I have a twin brother, I have two older sisters. All of us have individual successes within the chosen professions that we have. However, the truth of the matter is that we were all told, son, if you do this, this is the outcome. This is how it's going to hurt you. You need to consider this. Now, granted, when we became of a certain age, you listen less, but those lessons don't leave. The scripture says, train up a child in the way that they should go, that when they are old, they will not depart from it. And do know in our youth, we were foolish.
Yes, it
Me,
is.
me being one of them. Not ever so careless to be dangerous and harmful, but absolutely make mistakes. And in all of that, there was discipline. My definition of discipline is this: discipline is consequence plus education. I
Mm,
use this in terms of how I deal with students. I tell my administrators, you better administer discipline. Don't just give them a consequence, make sure you educate them. because we don't want them to do the same thing the next time. Or we want them to understand if they do the same thing next time, the consequence will be more significant. Because that has to be understood. My
Yes.
parents, I hated the I whip you because I love you. But I didn't get nearly as many spankings as I deserved or earned. And with every discipline, every bit of consequence I got, there was a conversation to educate me. This is why this is going to be an issue for you. This is why if you choose to continue down this pathway, this is the outcome. If you want these things, you need to do this. If you don't want these consequences, you need to do this. All those conversations, you learn how to take critique. And I'm going to be honest with you, the rest of my family, oh, they will tell you about yourself, both sides. But I always understood that it wasn't because they were trying to tear me down. We weren't cutting on each other. We were loving each other. You need to get your life together. Da, 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 da. I grew up in that. And so now as an educator and as an employer, as an employee, even with my supervisor now, he tells me something. He's like, well, I'm not trying to be harsh. Just tell me. Just tell me. I can take it. I'm fine. Other people are worried about how stuff is said. I'm only worried about what you have to say. And when you take that out of it, you do a better job of accepting the information because you're not looking at it through the lens of bias. One of my former pastors, he says all the time, "How do you offend a dead man?" We all kind of scratch our heads and like you don't. And he said it this way. He said, "That's right. So if you die to self every single day, you can never be offended."
My goodness.
If I put it away in an understanding of that, this person is not being personal, they're giving me information.
Yes.
I am voracious for information. I love information. My love language is data. Okay. I salivate over numbers and information. So if you're giving me data for me to be able to use so that I can be even better, oh my gosh, bring it. Bring it. I want to know. Even now with my assistant principals, I have one-on-ones with them every 2 weeks where I check in, see how they're doing. We look at their projects, things like that. And one of the questions on my list is, what feedback do you have from me as a principal? What do I need to improve upon to help you? Because I believe in a 360 review. My supervisor doesn't see me every day. They do.
Absolutely.
So if my slip is showing on something, they need to tell me so that I can take care of it. And so that when it's all said and done, they know that they can trust that when I give them something, I've considered their thoughts and mine in making a decision. So there's no or very little pushback because they're like, no, we talked about this. He shared with me what is that. I understand his mind. I know where he's coming from. I got him. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me ask you this. Have you extended that 360 review to teachers?
I send out a quarterly survey.
Wow.
And they tell me the truth.
Wow.
I can tell who's in a good mood or a bad mood. I tell folks all the time. I actually want all of them to respond, but I normally get about 35 to 40. And it's the folks who are really happy and the folks who are really upset. But the truth of the matter is, like I tell folks, the folks who are upset actually the ones I pay the most attention to. Because while I may not like their message, there's something in there that's not working for them. If it's something that is foundational and cultural that I want to put in place, oh well. If it's something that is not, it's small or, well, not small, that it's important to them, but not as important to me and not a hill to die on, we might make that transition. Or they might have an idea that makes us better. Listen to it. You know, I I I had a teacher when I was at a previous school. I called him my truth machine. Uh, and I'll call him by name because I love him to death. He's retired now. His name is Derek Richardson. He's a biology teacher with me at Garland High School. And I'd come in with an idea. He's like, "Oh, that will never work. That's this, blah, 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 blah." He was a grouchy guy, his own words. Uh, but I loved him for it because what I'd say, okay, what's wrong with it, Derek? He would tell me this, 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 and this. And that made me craft the message. It made me improve the processes that much more.
Wow.
And I remember one thing in particular that we talked about. It was a particular project called Cycle Recovery. He felt like it was giving kids a chance to fail and then make it up. Da, da, da. I said, no, Derek, this is a chance to hold them accountable because I know you believe in that.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Yeah. They don't have to make a 70, make them make an 80. We get to control that. You get to turn. He was the leader for it.
Oh my,
We and we had the highest cycle recovery rate of any campus.
wow.
And he was a staunch person about it. And you know what? When he retired, I went up to him. I said, "Man, I'm gonna miss you." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Because you made me better." And he gave me a handshake and a hug. He said, "I really appreciate that." But I have found that naysayers are not bad.
Mhm.
You need them. You need them all. I need love and I need hate. Haters, get on your job, okay? Because I need haters. Because
Yeah.
haters point out the things that the people who love you are blind to.
Um, you're talking about a reframe and really doing some inner work to be able to take that very much. Now, you grew up with feedback being at the very
All the time.
core, and so I hope this is a message that is real. It sounds like it's latching on to South Garland. Of the importance of feedback, because
Mhm.
I think a lot rests on feedback in
Yes, ma'am.
terms of your how you do things, your character, how I affect people,
Hmm.
who is on. There are people on the other end of me in relationship. How am I
Right.
impacting them?
Right.
I only know when they tell me what you said,
Yes.
what you did, how you went about this.
Yes.
That's when I have my epiphanies because I'm blindsided. I don't always know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm doing. So, whew, I could talk to you another 2 hours, but I am going to respect your time,
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
Leday. And I just know that the audience today, they've gotten some genuine golden nuggets from
Hmm.
you about the intentionality and the on purpose idea of taking care of yourself
Hmm.
first, making sure that you're in the mix, making sure that you're attending to as much as you can
Hmm.
work-life balance. You can't always meet work-life balance, but that's
Hmm.
goal anyway. You keep that before you. And as you're doing it first and foremost with yourself, Dr. Leday, you're also modeling number one, and you're also verbally encouraging your staff to do the same. And I do agree with you. I know that this to be true is that when you have that kind of focus, that focus of care, and let's work together,
Hmm.
that's another thing that we could talk about, the democratic process that you bring to the workplace. That's another subject for another time. But that democratic way of working with your staff, I think that you got the buy-in. You got the buy-in because when people are treated with respect and dignity, they don't forget that. There's the
Yeah.
loyalty. There's the how can I make Dr. Leday look good because he cares so much for me. He was there when I had to take care of my father. I was the only one
Hmm.
having to take care of my father, and he did some tweaks to the schedule so I could do that. People don't forget those things.
Yeah.
And in the final analysis, like you said, I think there's that longevity. People stay probably at your school. And that's another question that I could ask you. I bet you have some longtime teachers there
Mhm.
because they're so happy, you know?
Well, like I said, I've only been here 3 years. And so there are some that have been stalwarts that have been with me the whole time, and that's been a beautiful thing. There are others that I've caught them in their retirement because it's time and because they've
Mhm.
given 30, 40 years. And then there are others that the vision is not aligned. They don't work that way, and that's okay. I tell everybody that's fine. I want to share two things with you that are really on my mind. One of the things is this. I talked about this with students and teachers alike. I said, how do you know when you offend someone? And they scramble. They say, well, it's just, how do you know something's disrespectful? Well, it is. It's just is. I said, mm-mm. You never know till they tell you. What's offensive to me may not be offensive to you. And so that's why I encourage feedback. That's why I say when I'm coaching teachers, because we do real time in the moment coaching and feedback. So if I'm doing a walkthrough, I'm going to be in there my 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm going to pull the teacher to say, hey, I saw this. This was great. Da, da, da. Could you consider dot, 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 dot? They might be offended. I'll never know until they tell me.
Yes.
Okay. Because again, that has to be something that's communicated. So I have to create a space where they can say it, where they can tell me that they're not, that they don't appreciate it or they don't agree and all those different things, and not take it personally. Because again, you can be offended. I'm choosing not to be. But the second thing I'll tell you is this. It's interesting that we're talking about self-care because I don't think that people understand there's a biblical component to self-care. Okay. So God doesn't get tired. Why do we have the Sabbath? Why did he rest? That wasn't for him, that was for us. Okay. And bigger than that, you look at the Savior and you understand that before something big, he always went away to pray.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
So if he's the Savior, he has all power in his hands. He goes away to pray. He goes away to get himself reset so he can pour out of his cup. Why are we naive enough to believe that we can do it without that? That to me does not make sense. It's not logical. Okay. And again, I told you, I'm a data person. I'm a logical person. If we don't have enough good sense, for those of us who are of faith, for those of us who are not of faith, those who think that, Jesus is a really good person or prophet, nice guy, at least follow the model. Take some time,
yeah, try it out.
recalibrate, refresh, and then get back at the mission. So again, it's not a matter of it's not easy because we oftentimes get in misplaced. We're talking about, a savior who had a divine mission and always kept it up front. We don't do that. We're not able to keep it always up front. But that's part of the reason why we have accountability partners. It's part of the reason why you put it on your schedule. It's part of the reason why you have to be extremely focused and intentional about doing it so that when it's all said and done, you're following the best example. Because my example is not the best example.
Yes.
I know who the best example is.
Yes.
And so if we follow that best example, then we can make sure that just like in his way that he was victorious in his mission, we can be victorious in ours.
This is just so golden. And what I have found too is that once I got over the hump, there's that anxiety of spending time with myself, stealing away some time. But I've come to, I think it was probably during the pandemic when I learned to start respecting silence. I will take one day out of the week. It's a day of silence.
Mm.
And I have formed a deeper relationship with myself. I have been able to understand how I'm wired. I've been able to be in touch more with my value system and how am I going to go implement that? How can I embody my value system out there in the world? I've been able to solve problems. I get some great there's great imaginings that happen, and it has built my confidence and my trust in myself and in the Lord.
Yes.
Because He
Yes.
speaks to me during that silent time.
Yes.
And I have come to find that as a sacred place for me. That is my major tool for self-care. And again, we're not conditioned to or socialized to think this way, but I have begun to understand that everything is, He lives within us. And that how he's wired us. That's the discovery of a lifetime, Dr. Leday, is I keep learning little nuances about who Rosalind is. I keep learning about me. I keep going, whoa, oh, you handled that really, really good. Maybe you have a talent in it, and it's allowed me to leverage these discoveries out there in the real world. And I think that if we can get off that hamster wheel enough to make, I do this every week. Every Saturday, I'm taking a portion of that Saturday in silence. Or whatever else floats your boat.
Right.
That you come out a much more powerful, I think, able to to bounce back from challenges.
Hmm.
You know, you grow in so many ways. It's so worth it to me.
Yes. And again, it's hard to serve when you're spent. It just is. And we've all done it. We've all made that mistake. We've all said, well, but if I'm not here, who? Well, guess what? I don't know.
Mhm.
But at some point you won't be here. So maybe they need to figure out who that who is before you leave.
Wow. Yes.
And so, I'm blessed that I've got a great team that I work with. And, we had spoken about this in our previous conversation. I took a day off in the first quarter, and I actually took it on a Friday, which was a game night. And I'm sitting there. My wife had the day off too, so we hung out. We ate breakfast, we ate lunch, we had afternoon beverages because my team, I was gonna go to the game, so I was gonna just grab something real quick and go. They sent me a text message. Hey, this is from the Bulldog crew. That's what they call themselves. We got this. Don't you dare come to the game tonight. We taking care of it. We're gonna call your wife and tell her not to let you come. Enjoy the time. We'll see you on Monday.
Mhm.
Because when you cultivate that in others and you instill in them the trust that, you know what, the world won't fall apart because I'm not here,
Yes.
then they can step up and do the job and you can get your rest.
Yes.
And I know if there's something that goes down, they're going to give me a call. I mean, if it's really serious, they're going to call me. Otherwise, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And they know to do it. And,
Yes.
but again, what can I do from away? I can't run in there and get it done. They're already there. Again, logic has to kick in at some point, and it has to overcome hubris and pride. Because that's
Mm,
all it is. That if you're sitting there thinking it can't be done without you, you overestimate who you are.
this is true.
And if you understand whose you are, you understand that little is much in his hands, and what people think is much is just me.
Yes. Yes. So well put. And I think you're also giving an opportunity for others to lead.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's just not you. How are you grooming other leaders to lead? I mean, there's going to be a time when you retire. You know, we want to multiply ourselves. So, yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
And with that, Dr. Leday, I just want to thank you for, wow, my goodness, the deep insights that you've given teachers and other educators, administration, because they are looking for answers. They're
Yes.
looking for answers. And thank you for providing some very powerful ones that people can just run away with, you know, and see results with. So
Yes.
I appreciate you so much.
It has been my pleasure. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but these are things that I've learned. I'm so happy to be able to share them and share them on this format with you. And I hope that someone who's listening, that they gain some insight from it to make sure that they have a better chance of taking care of themselves so they can take care of other people.
Absolutely. Let's stay in touch. All
Yes,
right,
ma'am. Will
everyone.
do.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.